Even after all they had been through, there was still a lingering uncertainty in Amara's heart. She had taken a leap of faith, believing that the connection they had was worth fighting for. But the reality of their lives, so different, so separate, still haunted her. As the rain poured down outside, she felt a quiet tension as though something was about to change. And then the text came, Ethan's message, casual but with an undertone of seriousness. "Hey Amara, can we talk tonight? I know things have been intense lately, but I feel like there's something we need to work through. I think we need to be honest with each other, especially about where we're headed. Let me know when you're free." Her heart skipped a beat as she read the message. Despite all the reassurance they had shared in recent days, the unease was back. She set her phone down for a moment, trying to steady her breathing. There was no escaping it. This was the moment they had to face the truth about their future. No more pretending that everything was perfect. No more ignoring the hard conversations that needed to happen. The sound of the doorbell rings. Amara opens the door to find Ethan standing on the other side, his expression as serious as his message. He's dressed casually, but there's a weight in his eyes. Without saying a word, he steps inside and they make their way to the living room. The sound of the door closing behind them is like the finality of a chapter turning over. When Ethan arrived, the air between them was thick with unspoken words. Neither of them knew where to start, but they both knew that the time for avoiding the tough questions was over. Ethan, breaking the silence, quietly but determined said, "Amara, I think we need to talk about where we go from here. I've been thinking about us, about what we're building, and I just want to make sure we're on the same page." Amara nodded, her heart heavy. She knew this conversation was inevitable, but that didn't make it any easier. She had spent so much time trying to avoid the reality of their situation, the differences between them, the pressures from their pasts. But now she realized she had to confront them head-on. Amara softly but steady said, "I agree, Ethan. I've been thinking about it too, about how much we want this and how much we're willing to give. But what if we're not enough for each other? What if our differences are just too much to overcome?" Ethan didn't respond immediately. Instead, he leaned back and looked at the floor, his brow furrowed in thought. The silence between them felt like a chasm that neither of them knew how to cross. But it was in the silence that the truth began to sink in. Ethan, low but earnest, said, "Amara, I know our worlds are different. You come from a place that I don't fully understand, and I've spent so much time trying to keep the past behind me. I'm scared, Amara. Scared of failing you, scared of not being enough for you. But what I know for sure is that I don't want to let go of what we have. I can't imagine my life without you." His words, raw and vulnerable, struck a chord with Amara. She had always seen him as this strong, confident man, someone who seemed like he had everything figured out. But now she realized just how much he was struggling, how much he was afraid of losing her. And in that moment she knew she couldn't let go either. Amara, filled with emotion, said, "Ethan, I don't want to lose you either. I don't know where this is going or if we can make it work, but I know one thing for sure. I don't want to give up without trying. I'm willing to fight for this, for us." The camera lingers on their faces as they sit in the quiet of the room, the storm outside continuing to rage. The tension between them begins to melt away as they share this raw, honest moment. And just like that, a quiet understanding passed between them. They weren't going to have all the answers tonight, and they weren't going to fix everything right away. But in that moment they realized something important. Love wasn't about having everything perfect. It was about being willing to face the tough moments, the moments of fear, and still choose each other. Ethan, with a small smile, hopefully said, "Let's take this one day at a time, Amara. We'll face whatever comes together." Amara smiled back, her heart lightening. She didn't have all the answers either, but one thing was certain. They had a future together. A future that was uncertain, yes, but worth fighting for. And with that promise between them, the storm outside seemed just a little less frightening. The next morning, Amara and Ethan took their first step forward, together. They didn't know what the future would hold, and they didn't have all the answers. But in that moment they knew one thing. They were ready to face it all together, no matter the challenges. Ethan, with a grin as they walk side by side. "We're in this together, right?" Amara smiling back. "Always." And as they walked hand in hand, the world around them seemed a little brighter. Whatever came next, they knew they had each other, and that was enough for now. Amara is sitting in her cozy kitchen, sipping coffee and looking out the window at the city waking up. There's a sense of peace but also an underlying tension. She's been reflecting on everything that's happened with Ethan, and despite their decision to take things one day at a time, her mind is still racing. She picks up her phone, checking for messages. It's been a few days since that heart-to-heart conversation. Amara and Ethan have been trying to navigate their relationship with more honesty, but the lingering questions remain. Questions that neither of them can seem to shake off. Amara's heart is lighter now, but there's still a storm brewing in her mind. Amara opens a text from Ethan. "Hey, are you free later today? I was thinking we could grab lunch together, just the two of us. I know we've been busy with work and life, but I'd like to spend some time with you." Her heart stirs as she reads his message. Simple, but it carries so much meaning. For a moment, she lets herself imagine a future where everything works out, where they overcome their differences and build a life together. But she knows it's not going to be that easy. There are still so many unknowns. The past, the baggage, the conflicting realities of their worlds. Amara and Ethan meet at a small, intimate cafe in the city. The atmosphere is calm and relaxed, the perfect setting for a long-overdue conversation. They sit across from each other, their coffee cups steaming between them. The tension is palpable, but they're both trying their best to keep the conversation light. As Amara walks into the cafe, she feels a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Ethan's been her anchor these past few days, but there's still a part of her that hesitates, afraid of what could happen if they move too quickly. Their worlds are so different after all. Ethan, smiling warmly as she takes a seat. "You look amazing as always." Her heart skips a beat at the compliment, but she tries not to show it. She smiles back, grateful for his kindness, but she knows she has to keep her guard up. This is more than just a lunch date. This is a pivotal moment in their journey together. Amara, playful but guarded, said, "Thanks. You look good too, I guess, for someone who's still trying to figure out life." Ethan laughs, leaning in a little closer, his eyes twinkling. "I think we're both in the same boat, trying to figure things out one step at a time." And there it is again, his honesty, his willingness to show vulnerability. It's something Amara's come to appreciate in him, but it also scares her. He's not afraid to confront the truth even when it's uncomfortable. And that honesty, it makes her question whether she's ready to take the next step with him. They continue to talk, catching up on the little things, work, life, their mutual friends. But the conversation takes a more serious turn when Ethan brings up something he's been thinking about. After the light conversation, the silence lingers between them, almost as if they're both waiting for something to happen. Then, without warning, Ethan breaks the silence with a confession that catches Amara off guard. Ethan, looking serious, said, "Amara, I've been thinking a lot about you. About us. And I want to be honest with you because I feel like we've come to a point where we need to really talk about what we want." Amara feels a lump form in her throat. She knew this conversation was coming, but hearing him say those words out loud makes it all too real. She takes a deep breath, steadying herself, unsure of where this is going but needing to hear what he has to say. Amara, trying to mask her nerves, speaks softly, said, "What do you mean, Ethan? What is it that you want?" Ethan, sincere and vulnerable, said, "I want you, Amara. I want us. I know we're from different worlds, but I'm willing to make this work. I've thought about it a lot and I know it won't be easy. But I think we owe it to ourselves to try. I want to be there for you. I want to build something real, something lasting." His words hit her like a wave. There's a mixture of hope, fear, and excitement swirling inside her. She wants to believe him. She wants to take his hand and walk into the future with him. But is she really ready for the kind of commitment he's offering? Is she ready to face the challenges that lie ahead with all their differences and complications? The conversation pauses for a moment as Amara takes in what Ethan has said. The world around them seems to slow down as she weighs the choice in her heart. She knows that this is the moment. This is the moment where everything could change, where they could either move forward together or walk away from each other forever. Amara's mind races as she tries to process everything he's just said. He's offering her something that feels both terrifying and exhilarating. She knows it won't be easy, nothing worth having ever is. But the question still lingers in her mind. Is she brave enough to take that leap with him? Amara, steady but with a hint of vulnerability, said, "Ethan, I care about you more than I thought I would. But I'm scared. I'm scared of everything that comes with us being together. The expectations, the differences, the unknowns. I don't know if I'm strong enough for all of it, Ethan reaches across the table, his hand gently covering hers. His touch is warm, reassuring. And in that moment, Amara realizes, maybe she doesn't have to face everything alone. Ethan calmly and confident said, "You don't have to be strong alone, Amara. We'll be strong together. One step at a time, we'll figure this out. I'll be here no matter what." His words bring a sense of calm over her. She doesn't have all the answers. She doesn't know what the future holds. But for the first time in a long time, she believes that maybe, just maybe, this could work. She squeezes his hand, a silent promise passing between them. As Amara and Ethan finish their lunch and leave the cafe together, the city seems to hum with a new energy, and for the first time in a while, Amara feels like she's walking towards something new and exciting. There's still uncertainty, but there's also a sense of hope. They're moving forward together, one step at a time. Amara at work. She's focused on her tasks, but there's a faint smile on her face that she can't seem to shake. Ethan has been messaging her throughout the day, small, thoughtful texts that make her feel seen and appreciated. But amidst the joy, there's also a lingering anxiety about what lies ahead. Amara has always been cautious, hesitant to let her emotions guide her decisions. But Ethan has a way of breaking down her walls, one kind gesture at a time. As she balances her work and her growing feelings for him, she wonders if she's ready for the challenges that their relationship will inevitably bring. Later that evening, Ethan surprises Amara by waiting for her outside her office. She steps out and there he is, leaning casually against his car, a bouquet of her favorite flowers in hand. She's stunned but deeply touched. Amara, smiling but slightly self-conscious. "Ethan, what are you doing here? You didn't have to come all this way." Ethan grinning. "I wanted to see you. Is that so wrong? Plus, I figured you could use a little pick-me-up after a long day." Ethan's thoughtful gesture makes Amara's heart flutter, but it also leaves her feeling a bit overwhelmed. She's not used to being the center of someone's attention like this. It's both exhilarating and intimidating. Ethan holding out the flowers. "These reminded me of you. Simple, beautiful, and a little unexpected." Amara takes the bouquet, her cheeks flushing. She's not sure how to respond, but the warmth in Ethan's eyes makes her feel safe. For a moment, she lets herself enjoy him. Ethan takes Amara to a quiet restaurant for dinner. The atmosphere is cozy, with soft lighting and gentle music playing in the background. They settle into their seats and the conversation flows easily between them. Ethan, leaning forward slightly, said, "I've been thinking about us a lot, Amara. About what we want out of life. I know we're still figuring things out, but I'd like to know, what are your dreams? What do you see for yourself in the future?" Amara hesitates, caught off guard by the question. She spent so much of her life focused on surviving, on making ends meet, that she hasn't allowed herself to dream much beyond that. But Ethan's question feels genuine, like he truly wants to know her heart. Amara, soft but thoughtful, said, "I don't know if I've ever thought about it in detail. I guess I've always wanted a simple life. Something stable and peaceful. A family maybe. A career that I enjoy. Nothing extravagant." Ethan, smiling warmly. "That doesn't sound simple to me. That sounds meaningful. And you deserve all of it." His words take her by surprise. She's not used to someone affirming her like this, and it stirs something deep within her. For the first time, she starts to imagine a future where her dreams are possible. A future where Ethan is by her side. As the evening progresses, the conversation turns more serious. Ethan shares more about his past, his struggles after his divorce, the challenges of being a single father, and his fears about opening his heart again. Ethan, heavy with emotion, said, "There were times I thought I'd never be able to move on. My past, it's messy, Amara. And I don't want to bring you into something that might hurt you. But I also know that I can't imagine not having you in my life." Amara listens intently, her heart aching for him. She's always known that Ethan carries a lot of weight on his shoulders, but hearing him say it out loud makes it all the more real. She reaches across the table, placing her hand over his. Amara, steady but filled with compassion, said, "I don't care about the mess, Ethan. We all have things we're not proud of. What matters is that you're trying, that you're here, and that you care. I'm scared too, but I think we can figure it out together." It's a moment of raw vulnerability between them, a moment that cements their connection. They're both scared, both uncertain about the future. But for the first time they feel like they have a fighting chance. As they leave the restaurant, Ethan walks Amara back to her apartment. The city lights twinkle around them, casting a soft glow over the streets. There's a sense of quiet intimacy between them, a feeling that they've crossed a threshold in their relationship. Ethan, stopping in front of her door and sincerely said, "I don't know what the future holds, Amara. But I know I want you in it. Whatever it takes, I'm willing to fight for us." Amara, her eyes shining with emotion. "I want that too, Ethan. I'm still scared, but I'm willing to try. With you." As their eyes meet, there's a sense of hope between them, a sense that no matter what challenges lie ahead, they're ready to face them together. It's not a promise of perfection, but it's a promise of effort. And sometimes that's all you need. Amara sitting in her apartment on a rainy evening, her journal is open on the table. She's writing furiously, pouring her thoughts onto the pages. Outside, the sound of rain against the window creates a soothing yet melancholic backdrop. "I never thought someone like him would see someone like me. It's terrifying and thrilling all at once. But can love really bridge the gap between two completely different worlds? And more importantly, am I ready for it?" Amara has always found comfort in her journal, a safe space to unravel her thoughts and feelings. But tonight her words carry a weight they've never had before. She knows her connection with Ethan is growing stronger, but so are her fears. The reality of their differences is becoming harder to ignore. Amara is startled by the sudden ring of her phone. She glances at the screen. It's Ethan. A small smile tugs at her lips as she answers. Ethan, warm and light-hearted, said, "Hey, I hope I'm not interrupting anything important. I was just thinking about you and thought I'd call." Amara, smiling softly. "You're not interrupting. Just journaling as usual." Ethan, teasing. "Let me guess. You're overthinking everything again, aren't you?" Amara, laughing lightly. "Maybe. You know me too well." Ethan's voice has a way of calming her, of making her forget her worries, even if just for a moment. Their conversation flows easily as it always does, but there's something different in his tone tonight. Something more serious. Ethan softly said, "Amara, there's something I need to ask you. Are you free this weekend? I want to take you somewhere special." Her heart skips a beat at his words. She's not sure what he has planned, but the thought of spending time with him fills her with a mix of excitement and nerves. Amara, trying to play it cool. "I think I can make time. Where are we going?" Ethan, chuckling. Just trust me." The weekend arrives and Ethan picks Amara up early in the morning. He's dressed casually, a warm smile on his face as he opens the car door for her. They drive out of the city, the landscape shifting from urban chaos to serene countryside. Ethan refuses to tell Amara where they're headed, and despite her protests she can't help but enjoy the mystery. The drive is filled with laughter and easy conversation, a stark contrast to the storm of thoughts in her mind. Finally, they arrive at a quaint little vineyard nestled in the hills. The view is breathtaking, with rows of grapevines stretching as far as the eye can see. Ethan leads her to a quiet spot overlooking the valley, a small picnic set up waiting for them. Amara, filled with awe, said, "Ethan, this is incredible. I didn't know you had this side to you." Ethan, grinning. "I thought it was time I surprised you. You deserve moments like this, Amara." As they sit together, sharing stories and sipping wine, Amara feels a sense of peace she hasn't felt in a long time. But beneath the surface, her insecurities linger, waiting for the right moment to rise. As the sun sets, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Ethan turns to Amara, his expression serious. Ethan, steady but filled with emotion, said, "Amara, I've been thinking about us a lot. About what this means. And I want you to know, I'm all in. I'm not saying it'll be easy, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make this work." His words take her by surprise. She's been so caught up in her own fears that she hasn't stopped to consider how much he's willing to fight for them. But as much as she wants to believe in his words, doubt creeps in. Amara, hesitant, said, "Ethan, I don't know if I'm enough for you. You come from a world I can't even imagine and I'm just me. What if this doesn't work?" Ethan, taking her hands in his, and said, "Amara, don't you see? It's not about where we come from, it's about where we're going. And I want to go there with you. You're more than enough for me." His sincerity disarms her, breaking through the walls she's worked so hard to build. For the first time, she starts to believe that maybe, just maybe, she's worthy of the love he's offering. Amara standing at the edge of the vineyard looking out at the stars. Ethan joins her, wrapping his jacket around her shoulders. They stand in comfortable silence, the weight of their conversation still lingering in the air. Under the vast expanse of the night sky, Amara feels something shift inside her. It's not a sudden realization or a grand epiphany, it's a quiet, steady acceptance. She may not have all the answers, but for the first time she's willing to take the risk. Amara turning to Ethan with a small smile. Hey, let's do this. Let's see where this goes. Ethan, his smile widening. I was hoping you'd say that. As their hands intertwine, there's a sense of hope in the air. They know the road ahead won't be easy, but they're ready to face it together. And sometimes that's all that matters. What does the future hold for Amara and Ethan? Will they overcome the obstacles in their path? Or will their love face challenges they can't surmount? Only time will tell. But one thing is for sure. Together they will keep fighting for each other. Stay tuned for the next chapter of their journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. The best is yet to come.